Hey guys, this is Abs. Welcome back to DeFi Top Signal. I am with my co-host Drake on digital. How you doing, Drake?
Yo, what's up, guys? Well, I mean, abs.
Yeah, so we have a lot to
I
talk about.
always do that, dude.
There's a lot of stuff to talk about today. I mean, we have we have ZK, we have POWs, ARB drama, we have some phantom stuff to talk about, and also NFTs and real world assets. So I think off the top we can start with ZK Sync, right? So and I think Drake, you wanted to talk about this, but I'm kind of picking up what you're putting down here.
DK Doge.
Yeah, ZK Doge. What's going on?
I grabbed some of this before. It's probably gonna go to zero, but it's a low market cap. It's like $788,000 market cap. I threw like $50 or $60 at it. Um, but Doge is popping off because Elon did his little Twitter thing. I don't know much about it. You actually just filled me in when we got on the call. You're like, dude, did you see Twitter? And I was like, no, but I see Doge pumping. And he was like, oh snap, yeah. Check
Yeah,
Twitter.
I didn't see anything else besides Twitter. The icon to the top left is it's changed to Doge icon, so that's very interesting. Obviously, it's Elon's doing his thing about pumping it per usual, right? It's right on
Well,
schedule.
I just saw one of his tweets. It's got 1.2 milli views now. Elon Musk, he did a tweet. It's like a little, not a meme, but I want to be able to show this to people. I'll put it in the Discord. Are we able to do a screen share or?
Oh, not yet, not yet. Sorry.
Okay. Well, basically, what the photo looks like is the cop. He's asking the driver for the license, and the guy driving it, his head is replaced with a Doge, and the cop is looking at his license, and it shows Twitter as the PFP or the photo on the ID. And the guy in the car who has the Doge head is like, "Oh, that's an old photo," kind of like hinting at, "Oh, well, Twitter is just going to be Doge now." But
Yeah, and it's up 30+% at the time of
CK Doge, get it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. It's kind of insane, right? Like ZK Sync in general, I think there's a lot of volume and a lot of money. TVL has been popping off with that narrative. Yeah, what have you been noticing, Drake?
Yeah, so if you look at ZK Sync Era, which is basically the newer ZK Sync, the old one was like ZK something. I can't even remember what it was called. It was called ZK Lite, ZK Sync Lite. It's to Era now, but basically the TVL is just up only. From the 30th of March to today, it's already doubled in TV. Actually, more than doubled. It went from 22 mil to 48 mil as of today, which is March 3rd or April 3rd. I'm sorry. And basically, what this means is that there's liquidity flowing into the ecosystem, and there's not much to do. You got DEFI protocol. It's basically an options protocol. No one uses it. It's like $72,000 in TVL. You got Unidex. That's just like a multi-chain little swapper thing with derivatives. That thing's got like 424 mil. You got Gem Swap, which is a newer DEX. This is like a yield farming Ponzi game with the, what is the token called? ZGem, like ZGem. And that thing it's just a sophisticated Ponzi to where you're farming the coin. Most of the tokens that you farm are locked up. You can't use them. Super high APRs, but 80% is locked and only 20% is liquid. So you can be earning like 8,000% is what it displays, but you're technically only getting like 1,000% APR because most of it is locked. Actually, a little more than that. And then they're also saying, oh, well, in order to farm your unlocked tokens, you have to lock up some of the ZGEM token to mine. It's just a sophisticated Ponzi. That's all it is. It's got deposit fees on some of the pools. And as the liquidity is flowing in, look at it like a Ponzi. If people are coming in, people are going to buy. It's the same thing with meme coins and like ZK Doge. Doge is popping off. It's up, well, what is it, 30%? And like 25% actually. Some people might be looking at it like, oh, I missed. Oh, wait. ZK narrative and Doge all in one. ZK Doge. So that's kind of like what I'm looking at. Like 4 guys to change a light bulb type of thing. Meme coin. Maybe it'll do something. Maybe it won't. Worst case scenario, maybe it's just an additional swap and a transaction for the potential airdrop. I literally threw $60 at it, so I'm not throwing anything at it. It's gonna go to 0 probably, or maybe it does a 2x. Who knows? But yeah, that's really it on ZK Sync. Got liquidity coming in. I mean, you got Sync Swap and Mute and Space. We talked about Space, I think, last week. Same thing. They're just sophisticated Ponzi's. Sync Swap might be a little bit different. Theirs is more like a DEX experience. Let me see. That one's more so something like Slingshot Finance, to where you can do like limit orders and whatnot. I think that's what this is. No, I'm thinking of something else. SyncSwap is not that. SyncSwap is just like another sushi farm, and it's also got a launch pad. So, but
yeah. So ZK Sync as well. Like, there's been a lot of the farming airdrop season obviously is continuing, and it has been confirmed. Not sure if this was mentioned yet, but it has been confirmed that the token is going to come out sometime within a year. So expect this time next year to receive some type of, ZK Sync type of airdrop. I'm not sure if there's any like tokenomics that are even talked about or discussed on Twitter just now about it. But
yeah, it's definitely going to infinity, just like ARB.
Yeah, exactly. So, which is a good segue into ARB, right? Let's talk about that drama really quick. So, what's been going on with ARB is that there's a lot of folks that are talking about, and they're kind of exposing that the team, the DAO, aka the Treasury, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Drake, when I'm explaining this, but well, my understanding is that the team basically took money and tokens away from the DAO, and they basically sent it to Binance, and they basically swapped it out, and they took money from the Treasury. So is that what your interpretation of what has happened with this ARB
I
drama?
voted no on the proposal too. I made a tweet about it, but basically the TLDR in the proposal is like, let me see if I'll pull it up exactly. That way it's not like misconstrued and whatever. Let's see, profile, boom. But basically TLDR in the proposal is that these guys were asking for 750 million ARB tokens, which is basically like $1 billion. I guess that's a reasonable ask. Not really. But basically it says the purposes for getting this $1 billion is making special grants, reimbursing applicable service providers for the total setup costs, covering ongoing administrative and operational costs of the Arbitrum Foundation is a blanket. Oh, I'm sorry. I was starting going into mine. So it's the purposes of making special grants, reimbursing applicable service providers for the total setup costs, and covering ongoing administrative and operational costs of the Arbitrum Foundation. Man, I messed up a bunch. But TLDR, what I explained it, I was like, well, this is just a blanket phrase for I will do whatever I want when I want with the money that you give me. Thanks. So it's kind of like, no, I'm definitely voting a no on this. But I guess there was some like drama that came out of it because they were like, oh, this is just a fake proposal. We were already just selling it. That's like the whole drama behind it. Because they're claiming it's not even a real proposal, and people voted no, and they still sold the tokens anyways. And then everyone got thrown into a tizzy fit, and then they were like, hey, look, we're sorry, we'll make it better. And that's where we're at now.
Yeah, so basically, just to kind of go into the weeds of what actually happened, the team essentially moved out 750 million ARB tokens on the 16th of March. Number two, the team then proceeded to send out funds to Binance on the 23rd. And then number three is that this was right on the day of the listing, which should raise eyebrows already, which is on the 23rd of March. And then it says here that many pointed out, including this guy. I'm reading his tweet. His name is cringe.eth, which I love the name. He said many has pointed out, including myself, that the Arbitrum token has felt like it was being held down by a certain large sales. Just didn't make any sense. Right now, 50 million ARB tokens is likely to have been sold by the Arbitrum team with no clearance from the DAO. Obviously, it's a big cause for concern. I mean, technically too. I was looking at the ARB price because I wanted to make some type of trade. It was supposed to break out around that 142 area, and it just kept getting suppressed, and I didn't understand why. But that was interesting, and now we're sitting at $1.17 ARB token at the current price, 118 on chain. So, which really explains why the price has been completely. I mean, it looks. I
Wrecked.
mean, it's wrecked. It's a perfect word to say that.
Yeah, and it also doesn't help that Bitcoin's okay, but it seems to be consolidating. I think we're going to consolidate for a bit of time. I don't know, we'll see. But I think our range is going to be between 25 to 30K, bouncing between support and resistance. Support being 25.5, and resistance being around 30K. If we can blow through it, great. If not, whatever. Maybe we'll get a short-term alt season. We had Doge pumping. We also got Bitcoin dominance reaching around 48, which is also resistance for it. It's tapped it like 2 or 3 different times. I'm not going to go deep into the TA because you can't really visualize what it looks like. But TLDR is Bitcoin dominance is around 48%. And typically it either breaks through that or it bounces off and goes back down to like 42%. What Bitcoin dominance going down means is it's bullish for alts. I don't know though. Because looking at the overall market, it looks kind of poop. And just in general, altcoins are a risk on type of thing. And if people are risk off, no one's buying altcoins. But speaking of some altcoins and some narratives, I mean, we are a DeFi top signal. We are a degen channel. So, I mean, we still talk about them anyways, even though it's probably going to go to zero. One of them that seems to be doing really well is Glacier Finance. This is a VE33 fork that is on Avalanche. So this thing launched a couple of days ago, and the TVL for it is about 16 million. The total TVL on the Avalanche chain is like 850 or 840 million. And typically with these VE33 forks, they get close to, if they do more, like Velodrome is a different example. It's got like 40% of the Optimism TVL at its peak. Glacier is currently around 1 to 2%. I could definitely see this pulling a sliz, getting like 10% in the TVL on the chain, because that's how these black holes work. They basically become a liquidity flywheel, just attracting liquidity. So if this plays out something similar to Sliz, which Sliz at one point was up to 10% of Arbitrum TVL, I definitely could see that happening for Glacier. What the main concern is going to be for it is competing with Trader Joe. What's going to help is that people are still migrating from V1 to V2. And similar to on Arbitrum, Sliz had to compete with Uniswap. They don't have to compete with Uniswap on Avalanche because it's not deployed over there. But their concentrated liquidity competition would be with Trader Joe. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I like Glacier Finance. That's the Avalanche fork or VE33 fork on Avalanche that I do like. They got another one called SoliSnec or Snec. They're going to integrate perps with it as well, but that one's not out. So, I mean, it's like one of those things, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. So I'm farming on Glacier to see what happens. This is on my public wallet on Twitter, so you guys already see what I'm doing. Just compounding it. It's either going to be one of those things. It could be a hero like Sliz or go to zero, or it could even do both. Like I see that happening for Sliz, mainly because they needed to fix the fees, but never got around to that. And they didn't focus on the long tail assets. Glacier seems to be focusing on the long tail assets, which I really like, and their fees aren't like Sliz. They are actually 0.2 instead of 0.4 on the volatile pairs, and they're 0.0 0.01 or 0.02, I'm sorry, on the stable pairs instead of 0.04, which basically means like, oh yeah, we get more volume, which you want more volume for a VE33 DEX. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And the last one I'm going to be looking at, the VE33, is ChronosFi. This one's going to be coming to Arbitrum. I really like this one because it has the maturity LPs. They call them MA LPs, whatever. But basically, it's reliquary technology. You can kind of see it over at Beats, to where the longer you stake your LP, you get boosted yields. So if someone had to wait 8 weeks to get like a boosted yield of 1,000% instead of 500%, it's going to create that sticky liquidity. To whereas someone else who's like, oh yeah, we're just paying you 1,000% whether you stake on day 1 or day 81. It'll create more sustainable and sticky liquidity because people are less likely to withdraw their LPs because they're like, oh snap, if I withdraw, I'm going to be losing this yield, and the only way I can get that high yield again is basically just stake for 8 weeks. But anyways, I'm ranting now, but that's what I'm looking at for the VE33 forks. There are some other tokens, but go ahead and chat your tokens.
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, we wanted to talk to you quickly about the Paint Swap, right? Paint Swap is actually this S4 Kingdom came out. It's an alpha type of open period right now where you can kind of play on this fantasy adventure of Est4 Kingdom. And it's interesting because Est4, if you look at it,
It's forest.
EST, yeah, it's Forest. Yeah, it's Forest Kingdom. But yeah, it's a new blockchain game on the Phantom network with 12 skills to train, over 250 unique items to collect, and it's deflationary for the the brush token. And I'm not sure, Drake, if you played around with it, but I kind of went in there for a few days, kind of clicked around and obtained 2 different types of characters, and it looks really
And
cool.
get
It looks really
whitelisted.
good. It's all good. I mean, if if you play your cards right, I could probably send you one whenever we're able to. I mean, it's probably gonna be really really cheap to buy initially, so it's interesting to play. You just click around and just send them on quests, and there's a time frame, and you can come back with you set it and forget it, and then you come back, and potentially you have you can mine, you could do a lot of things actually. So you can craft, but it's in the alpha stage right now, and as soon as they go live, that's when I'm pretty sure a lot more folks are going to be kind of sitting up a little bit to kind of see if this is something fun for people to play. And I'm looking for a game. Honestly, I am
It
looking
gives
for
me
a game.
RuneScape vibes, dude. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, and I hope it pans out. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to have some type of game that's on Phantom, and hopefully this is something that they continue to ship. Apparently, as well, I think I'm seeing this on the Paint Swap Discord, is that they essentially won the hackathon. They got the Paint Swap team, the devs, they got into first place. So the dev team is rock solid for Paint
Oh,
Swap.
dude, like if you haven't, I'm sure you tried the NFT marketplace. It's
Oh yeah,
sauce. And
oh yeah,
like
it's
what's
solid.
interesting about this game though, over something like DeFi Kingdoms or any of the other ones, is that the brush token actually isn't like super inflationary. To where like when you're farming with these items, all of the items are paired with brush that is bought from the market. So like when you buy different items, 50% of the brush that's used to be spent on that is burnt, and then the rest goes into the pool for the seller. So like you're going to have those deflationary mechanics as more people are buying pickaxes to go mining or nets to go fishing. It's similar to RuneScape as you're buying these different items and having to buy higher level items to get higher level ore. So like for example, mining, instead of just like mining copper and tin with a bronze pickaxe, you got to go mine some mithril or adamant or rune by using a rune pickaxe, which is going to cost more money, cost more paint, which the more paint you spend, the more it burns, and it creates a deflationary. Right now, it's only emitting like 2.4 brush every single second, and 50% of that is locked for 3 months. So it's not deflationary at this point, but there is some burns going on, and that's just for the game. They actually made a state, or the burns are mainly coming from the marketplace, not the game, because the game's not really public. It's just an alpha right now. But TLDR is like, they're saying the game is already burning more brush than the actual the marketplace is burning. I'll be making a thread on it on Twitter as well, but I like brush.
As do I. As do I. The next topic, which is going to be great to talk about, is the real world assets. It's RWAs. If you kind of look this up on Twitter, you can kind of get more information about the top ones that are kind of trending. And I want to shout out two. Drake, I know you want to shout out one. So obviously, in the past, I think it was like maybe 3 to 4 episodes ago, I simply brought up swarm markets, and
Wow.
yeah, Swarm, and it's actually it's been pumping. And I made a few nice little moves on that one as well, but it's just an interesting play because you have literally fully collateralized Tesla stock and Apple stock, and they continue to add more assets over time, and it's going to be in the roadmap. They also have 2 items to kind of like buy bonds as well, and so and apparently these Drake, I'm not sure if you looked into this as well, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
kind of told you my concerns about it, but yeah, I think it'll probably do well.
yeah. I mean,
I
it
think you
moves
were
with
talking
them.
about Rio too.
Yes, absolutely. I love Rio.
Realio.
Yeah, Relio. So to keep it kind of quite simple, I'm very very bullish on it. I have a moon bag. I did some trades with it recently, but yeah, I made a mistake early on. So let me just get this out of the way. Um, First, I bought Relio, these Rio tokens, RIO. I bought it around like 2.5 cents. Literally, the technicals look perfect. It already bottomed out. There was no traction to it. No one was talking about it. And I bought it initially there with like like $2,000, $2,500. I saw another play, got blindsided, sold all my Rio, went into the other play, and all of a sudden Rio is now 36 cents. Ouch, right?
Legend.
So yeah, so it's fine. Whenever it dropped in the recent times, I picked it up around 19 cents and was trading around. But yeah, I actually have that moon bag at 19 cents, and I don't plan on selling it. And really, the what Oreo tokens, what Relio.fund is all about, this network, is that the idea here is that real estate is a massive market valued at over $223 trillion dollars, and basically I want to say Rio is basically bridging blockchain with real world assets. And so the idea is that they're basically going to be this network where you're able to, perform uh, real estate transactions, metaverse transactions. They're doing a Realioverse metaverse play. Um, and so the idea here is that they're trying to bridge this, blockchain technology. There's unique properties on decentralization, immutability, and transparency. So they feel like they're going to try to attack this real estate industry, with this chain. So this whole idea, check out the website. I think it's relio.fund. And really just kind of go deep into that. I'm not going to go further than that, but it's one of the, like, every time I read up into it, they literally have like, I'm very bullish on it. But yeah, every time I read up on it, it just impresses me a lot, and I don't plan on selling my ledger bag of Rio.
Yeah, I like the real world assets. I'm just hesitant with them with what happened to me with what was it called, DMM governance.
Uh-huh.
With
That's right.
it was basically tokenization of the cars, and I just I don't even touch it anymore. I kind of explained it. It basically went from like, okay, let's say for example you invested $10,000. Within a matter of a minute, it goes to zero. Um, I mean, I don't know. It's like it's mainly because the SEC coming down on them. I if they're playing friendly, or if they, I don't know. It's just a mute subject for me. I just
No,
try to
no
stay
worries.
away from for that.
Yeah, I mean, so Relio has
It's
already
definitely a
secured.
narrative, though. It's definitely a
Yes,
narrative.
yeah, it is definitely a narrative. So Relio, just another thing to mention is that you did mention SEC. They are SEC compliant, right? So they're following certain standards that the SEC has, you know, basically, laid across and said that, hey, if you follow these rules, whatever it is, they literally Relio has an office in New York City, so they're literally neighbors with the Wall Street guys, the SEC, anyone, right? All those guys down there in New York. So if when I see that, and then that they are SEC compliant, they're trying to do this by the book. And so how I take it that it's fundamentally strong. Another aspect about this is that there's the total supply of Rio is 75 million, and it will be deflationary when people start signing up and institutions and to sign up to broadcast their property on the network.
Oh,
And
I
that,
agree. I mean, having
yeah,
your tokenized real estate is huge. Like that's been something I've been wanting to build.
hmm
The problem with that, like in addition to like SEC regulation, compliance, etc., is that the second thing you take on is okay, great, they're compliant and everything, similar to like Voyager Digital. You know, the guys who are bankrupt now. Similar to how they were SEC compliant, they were listed on the stock exchange. I could see the same thing happening with one of these other tokens, but let's say they mismanage funds or do something wrong, and just kind of like, oh, we got a sticker. Look, we're SEC compliant, and then under the hood, just do junk and bad stuff. Like I was explaining, some people can claim they're tokenizing real estate when in reality they're just operating a sophisticated Ponzi by saying, oh, look, we got this address here, da 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 da, we'll pay you 10% yield and then just pay the yield from other people's money. And the second aspect is, let's say, for example, they do everything right, but they over leverage and the housing bubble pops or like a housing bubble pops and everything crashes. At the end of the day, if the company goes bankrupt and all you have are these like fractionalized NFTs, how do you go get your house? Well, you got to go to the company to. Oh wait, the company is bankrupt. Oh snap! Oh, okay. The house of cards fell.
yeah,
um, uh,
there is a major risk for sure. And like think about like what if you get hacked, right? Like because we are trying to. What if you get your land deed in your ledger, right? And you click on something and then you approve it on your ledger. Do you lose your house deed? Is it over?
or better yet, what if someone's trying to buy a house and then you got 10 guys who own each of a different fraction or a fraction of that NFT? So like 10 different people. How do you buy the house if 9 guys will sell you the NFT and the 10th guy's like, nah, bro, I ain't selling this for a billy. And it's like, how do I buy this house? I mean, it's like, of course, there's different ways to do it. There's just a lot of moving parts in it. I think it's a really good play, but I don't think the technology is there yet to have it something like, oh, this is legit, this is gonna make it. This is gonna be like a spec play, like, oh, we got news, snap, this is gonna pump like 3, 4x. I
Yeah.
think it's more bullish that it's not here yet and not actually doing its thing until it actually does its thing. Like I think it'll be bearish when it actually does the thing. People most or oftentimes set higher expectations and think greater things will happen than actually happen. That's why it's always like a buy the rumor, sell the news event with
hmm
things like this. I think it'll do well though. I mean, it's got a lot of movement to go. Um, Peak was like 250 or 231. I'm just not buying it. I just
No,
think
yeah,
it'll do
totally
well
fine.
though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why I wanted to trade around a little bit. So at least in my core bag, my moon bag is like, it's filled with, it's somewhat like paid off, I would say.
Good narrative,
Um,
dude. Good
yeah,
narrative.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I really want this to work. That that's me as a moon boy. I really want these things to work, and I really want blockchain to be implemented in our system because I find so many different types of positives with this. And if we have accountability, if we have traceability, it's massive. It's going to be
You
implemented.
you remember Labs?
Labs?
Yeah,
Oh,
Labs.
yes, that's right. You were talking about that.
Yeah,
You did mention it.
Labs. I remember back in the day being shilled by tons of YouTubers about that. I think it was trading around 12 cents. It's now trading at 0.001.
Mm.
Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it'll do something. But they said the team restructured, and from its lows, it's up only 200%. So it's really not. It hasn't pumped as much as Relio or Rio. Rio pumped like what 30x now already.
Yeah. Yep.
Lab's only done a 2x. So I mean, for me, if I go at the RWA, I would throw some at Labs, even though it's like a dead project, just kind of like hoping it gets some love with the RWAs. I mean, just like the degen in me is just looking at it like it's 2 milli market cap, and stinking thing is, I mean, it's got the pump potential. Because people just YouTubers may take it on and be like, bro, it used to trade at 12 cents. It's an easy dollar coin or something dumb. I could see it trading like a meme. But I don't know. Yeah, RWAs. I need to. I should probably just get over that little DMM thing.
Yeah, it sounds like you were tainted a little bit with your experience in the past.
Yeah, dude. It was. I think it was because I was early and like that was in the beginning of crypto, and that was one of the early buys that I had. And then on top of that, what's his name? It's like a famous investor. He was investing, he was pumping the mess out of it. And he was like, yeah, this is such a great coin. DMM governance. If I got his name, I'll be able to tell you, and you'll be like, oh, snap, that guy?
Wasn't the folks at BitConnect, was it?
No, no, no. This is actually like a legit guy, like someone who's good. Um, investor, but like someone who was actually legit. It wasn't something that was just like
Mhm.
run of the mill. Tim Draper, that's who it was. Yeah,
Oh.
Tim
Oh.
Draper, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he pumps some stuff from time to time, but the dude's a billionaire, and you look at him and you're like, oh, this guy's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this article right here. Tim Draper sees potential in DeFi and backs a new DAO. Yeah, he backs DMM governance. Yeah, I guarantee he sold the bag after it was like, oh snap, SEC's on him. It's the SEC wasn't on him. It was all an inside job. That's all it was. The SEC isn't going to care about some small market cap coin. What's happening under the hood is the devs are like, okay, we made enough money. It looks like a bear market might be coming around, or we got some life-changing gains. We're going to say SEC is coming after us, and we're just going to rug pull everyone. And that's what happened. That's really what happened, just being honest with you.
Yeah.
Not trying to sugarcoat anything.
No, it makes sense. It does make sense. And it's unfortunate, but I do see a lot of returns that are potentially coming for RWAs, especially with Rio. Like I'm so impressed with that project and the team.
Yeah.
And I hope they continue to ship. So
Ship it along. That's the best
yeah.
thing to do.
So let's talk about POWs. This has been quite the last 7 days. So POWs is basically proof of work. I believe that we are basically seeing the very end of this narrative, this POW narrative, because we did see that Caspa, Nexa, and Radiant, which is RXD, these three tokens have been going off in the last like 7 days. Why? Because it's a narrative. There hasn't been anything that's that I see in the fundamentals, and I didn't see any tier 1 listings. I didn't see proof of work, or these layer 1s are coming back. No, I honestly think, and this is my take, and you can give yours, Drake. But my take is that this is just another narrative. There's nothing intrinsically stronger now in the last 7 days than before. The projects are all the same. They are continuing to build, to ship, and what have you. It's just that I didn't see anything across any of these projects that were super groundbreaking. I think that these are really bullish projects. Don't get me wrong, but if there were tier one listings across the board, exchanges, yeah, okay, then I understand the sentiment. I understand the bullishness behind these top three tokens, but I simply see it as a narrative. I had a decent sized bag of Nexa, and I sold it all. I sold it all essentially for nice little gains, and I'm fully out of this proof of work type of narrative. I think the bubble has popped, um, and it's overheated. Everything is completely overheated. I think it's going to come back down to earth, and I'll essentially be there to pick it up. I will pick it up. I'll pick up the cheap tokens that are going to basically being panic sold across the board. I don't honestly see anything across the board that literally is going to be groundbreaking for these in the last 7 days. There's no reason for these tokens to go off.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I could see like I get the narrative. I don't think it has popped, me personally, but I think it is pretty hyped. The reason why one I don't think it's popped is because first it's not listed on many exchanges. I know you're thinking that's embarrassing. I believe the same, but it's kind of counterintuitive because if it's not on one of these bigger exchanges, then there's not more people to buy. So, like for example, what is the one? It's called or RXD or Radiant. This is another of the proof of work ones. Like you can't even get this on MEXC. You got to get this on TaxBit or TXBT or Trade Ogre. I tried Trade Ogre and it's goofy as buns. But I mean it's like OG. It's not the UI UX is it's pretty horrible. But I mean it's like kind of the Wild West for it. I don't understand why people like these coins so much, being that they're just mined. It's similar concept to Bitcoin. The reason why Bitcoin is a little bit different is because it has the 21 million. It has basically the narrative of everyone was just dumping this in the beginning. It's pretty well decentralized, first mover advantage. It's got that brand name. Now you have these other ones that come up that maybe that's why it's pumping is everyone's trying to front run it if it becomes potentially valuable by buying a bunch of them and owning a bunch of them and basically owning the network. Or it could just be like a quick narrative, pump and dump. A bunch of people on Twitter are just pumping the mess out of it, and people are. But as more people pump it, it's just how it rolls. It's just like a classic pump and dump. But if you're looking at it, the miners are actually pretty profitable for some of them. The hash rate seems to be going up for a lot of these. And Nexa and Cas, their earnings per hash is actually increasing along with the price of the token, which is good. Whereas another one is RXD, the earnings per miner is actually decreasing compared to the price, and I believe this is because the hash rate is increasing so much more than the price actually is. So either that could be a bullish thing to where the price has to pump to catch up to that, or it's bearish because the miners will drop off because they're earning less. Who knows? Obviously, time will tell. We'll see what happens. But right now, the most profitable one is Nexa, where you're earning like per mega hash per second. You're earning like almost 1.5 pennies. With Cas, you're earning a little over 0.001, so a tenth of a cent. And then for RXD, you're earning under a tenth of a cent. But we'll see what happens with it. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But TLDR, proof of work, people mine the mess out of it. They dump coins and people speculate buying them, thinking they're going to be like silver, as Bitcoin is to gold. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
I think that there's people need to be realistic about this too. And when you have been mining, and I probably dedicated around 3 weeks worth to mining Nexa back when it was around like 400. And I had a lot. I had a decent amount. I think I had like 500 million tokens of Nexa, and sitting here at these levels, when you have a token that 3.5x'd from, just a week ago, you got to be smart about it. You got to take out your initial. Take out your initial and then some, right? And
Oh
then
yeah.
let the rest ride. Or if you do see major weakness in the market and you do see that, the multiple X's that you're looking for that typically would happen. This is not a bear. This is still a bear cycle. So you don't see these 3.5, 4x gains during this time frame. And so the way I looked at it was that I needed to take out everything. So I sold my whole bag. I sold it at 4,200. It's now sitting at 3,400.
Not
I'm
all that.
happy. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with my move, and I feel like that's if looking at the charts, it could retrace back down to that 1,700 at the low end to anywhere from 2,400. I think that's like a little nice area to kind of accumulate. Not financial advice, of course, but that's the typical areas where you can kind of see a little bounce. It's overextended at this point. The charts are way over. They're overheated. All the oscillators. And that's how I'm playing it. I'm probably going to buy in around that 1,700 to 2,400. So keep an eye on that area, and then for a potential consolidation area, and maybe it continues later this year. And I think it will.
Something that I'm actually looking at that's legit. This is one of the buys I made on my pub. Oh, I see the Doge thing on Twitter now. This is actually on my public wallet on Twitter. This token is called DSLA or Skactical. It's basically a third-party risk management solution. So just like we were talking about RWAs, or real-world assets, this one is actually tokenizing risk. I know it sounds crazy, but let's take this is an old bag for me too. I remember this back in 2020, 2021. You can check on my YouTube channel to see an old video. The very first example of their product market fit was doing this for proof of stake networks. So let's say, for example, you were expecting to get 7% per year APR on ETH, and ETH ends up dropping down to 5%. Well, you could have tokenize that risk into a contract to where it's like, okay, well, if I get less than 75% or less than 7%, I'm going to be compensated from the other guy who's underwriting the contract. Whereas if it's over 7%, then the premiums that I'm paying actually goes to the guy who is underwriting, so it's a win for him. But TLDR is you're able to buy and sell these different risk contracts and have a marketplace for it. And that's just for proof of stake. So the TAM on that, the total addressable market, just factor in the top 6 proof of stake tokens. You got ETH, Avalanche, BNB. What is the other one? Not Phantom. It's not top 6. Solana, and what are the 2 other ones? Tron, and I think one other one. Yeah. Anyways, the top 6, it's over $250 billion. So the TAM on that. Let's just say they grab, I don't know, TAM is total addressable market, by the way. Let's say they grab 1% of it. That's $2.5 billion in an addressable market just for the proof of stake on that portion. Just at 1%. Now, if they get 50%, obviously that's a lot. It's 125 billion. And obviously, if those market caps increase, it's an even higher market share. But that's literally just for proof of stake. Now let's go into NFTs. What about the NFT floor price? As a protocol who's releasing my own NFT, let's say it's potatoes. I like the potatoes. Their floor is trading at like 1.5, and I'm like, the lowest it'll go is 1, and if not, I'll go ahead and open up a risk contract. Basically, that way, if it goes below it, I'm compensated, and I can compensate my users or any of the holdings that I have, and basically not get wrecked. And that's just NFTs, and that's proof of stake. I mean, just think about it. How much of a addressable market you have in that? It's theoretically not infinite, but it's like the blockchain. As more people use it, and as more things are created, more people will use it, and more things will be created, and then which creates more things and more and more and more. It's just like a cell phone. You start with 64 gigs. And then you're like, wait, I can't do 64 gigs. I got to do 124 or 120. And then you get 120, you fill up all the space, and you're like, I got to get a 220 gig now. And you fill up all the space, and you're now, I can't do anything less than a terabyte. It's like, dude, it if there's space and there is a market for it, people will fill that need. And I could see that happening for a DSLA, which basically is just tokenizing risk. And that's what I see for it. So this is what it creates. These are the different innovations. First, it creates risk prediction markets. So users can trade risk with each other using a decentralized service level agreement, which is the SLA. That's why it's called DSLA, decentralized, whatever. Second, it creates reliability forecasts. So based on the SLA marketplace, the public can predict basically what it's looking at. So let's say, for example, 50% are betting that Trump's going to get elected and the other 50% says they won't get elected. Well, it's likely that nobody really knows. But if it's like 80 and 20 and people are betting their money on it, which is what they're doing in these risk prediction or in these basically a decentralized marketplace for SLAs, people are basically predicting like the NFT floor price is going to be above this or it's going to be below this based on their money because they're betting on these. Because if they're wrong, they lose money. If they're right, they win. They make money. It allows the SLA positions, so service level agreements, to be tokenized. It allows deviation-based rewards. And also for the DSLA token, most of the tokens are already released. So really, it's just token burns. And DSLA is burned every single time an SLA is created. Think about that. As more contracts and more people are coming over there, more DSLA is burned. And then, of course, you can do programmable SLAs. So basically, smart contract, tokenized contracts. Anyways.
So where can you buy it? Where can you buy DSLA?
DSLA, it's on KuCoin, but it's also on Ethereum, Uniswap liquidity. But for my trading wallet, I just did it on KuCoin because I couldn't deal with the gas fees. I mean, I'm already dealing with a limited budget. We're trying. The goal is to make that 2 ETH into 20 ETH. That's the competition me and Lewis took on.
Very nice. Is there a time frame for that?
Preferably, well, the year is like 1 year is tops, but preferably sooner, Lord willing.
Yeah, that's good luck to you guys about that. But yeah, so I mean, let's talk about progress. How have you been doing?
Progress. So I put a tweet on it yesterday. Let's see. Everything. It's probably down like 5%. Go to all. So the Glacier pair doesn't show up on DBank. ICE came down today. FBOM, it's probably down like 2%. Joe is basically the same. Glacier farming yield, I bought in a little bit higher, but the farming yield basically kept it break even. So yeah, really like 4 or 5% down. Okay. So not too bad.
Yeah, and considering you only started about a couple days ago, so this is pretty, not bad. So on to our last segment. Just wanted to briefly touch upon NFTs. So first things first for me is I wanted to talk about the V1 CryptoPunks. They briefly took a little dump from 5.5 ETH down to 4.25, I believe. That was the low. And right before this, I was about to potentially make a purchase because I did see an opportunity. There was like a 0.5 difference from the floor to the second one that was being offered on OpenSea, so that didn't make any sense. So smart people took that up, they scooped it, and now they, it's adjusted accordingly. Now the floor price is at 4.9. I still think it's a great price considering where it's the very first NFT collection. Second one I wanted to briefly talk about was the Nakamigos. I'm pretty sure, Drake, you talked Nakamigos. So this basically is a crazy phenomenon. It seems like it's the same exact thing when it comes to people just buying it, having they're checking out the community. The community is going off, saying that, oh yeah, this is going to like 10 ETH and all that. But yeah, it went from like 0.01, is that right? All the way up to like the high was at 0.9, almost
When
an
I
ETH.
saw it, I saw it at point 0.2 ETH, and I asked my NFT guy in Discord. He's like, "Dude, it's risk off." And I was like, "All right, you're right." He's always right. So I mean, he's made some great calls. Like he talked to me about checks, and then he talked to me about OPEPins. OPEPin's still in the green for me. I told you my check story,
Yes.
but OPEPin, dude, like he was showing me this one at point 0.01 or point 0.02 ETH. Shout out to him if he's listening. It's Bart Blee. He's on Twitter as well. But dude, the OPEPins just like amazing. The checks were even better, but I was just salty because the LP pool kind of wrecked me. But me and him, we both like the potatoes. Our potatoes are doing well, man. I nabbed one of these. It was like 1.5, 1.55.
Yeah.
When Captain's little NFT airdrop happened, people were selling off because that's how it happens. You have the airdrop, people sell off the thing that was in the snapshot and just move along. But yeah, it doubled, man.
Yeah.
2.98. Yesterday it was
Wait,
3.49.
yeah.
Potatoes.
Yeah, another thing to talk about too is the D gods, right? D gods and Utes basically had their successful over. I think it was over the weekend. They had their successful merge.
What's the deets on
Um,
Utes?
I honestly don't know. I know it's affiliated heavily with D gods, and
I
it's
know
made
D
by
gods.
Frank. By
Frank.
Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank had. I think he owns both of these, and also, and I think you can also stake these Utes as well on his website. And I didn't go too deep on this, but I know that Utes have actually been holding their price, whereas D gods basically was okay. So going back, it's Solana. They basically had this D
Yeah,
god
I remember.
NFT.
I remember that for D God. Oh well, viewers probably don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah. So D gods and Utes, I think they were over at Solana. They did pretty well, but obviously Solana has been heavy affiliated with FTX. TVL's been down. Um, so they basically made the business decision to merge over to Polygon, which I don't know. It's not great because Polygon, there's nothing going on over there. But maybe I think I heard down the rumor mill that Polygon did dish out like $3 or $5 million over to Frank and said, "Hey, can you kind of bring your collection over here?" And I think he gladly took that. And but I mean, people are trusting him. They made D gods over for the ordinals, BTC ordinals, and I think they're still sitting at around 1 BTC for 1 DGods. I believe that the supply over there is around 300. But DGods, once they merged over to or from Solana over to Polygon, I I believe the floor price was around 12 ETH, and now it's been taking a huge hit. It's sitting at 7.8 ETH. Utes has been, and this is Y00TS Utes. It's been sitting at 2 ETH. It's been sitting around this area for quite some time now. Once it's once they bridged over to Polygon, they look awesome. Like scroll through Utes, scroll through D gods. The art looks amazing. Shout out to Frank, but
Yeah, I will say the art is pretty good. I don't know like the I mean I know the Frank guy is pretty good. Um, I just don't vibe with him for some reason.
yeah, I mean,
I don't
yeah,
know.
in his interviews, I feel like, and I'm not dishing bashing him whatsoever. It's
No,
just that
he's a good guy. Like
yeah,
dude, like the
he
dude
knows how
built
to
a
he knows how
killer
to
project.
yeah he knows how to market and all that. He knows how to brand his youths and his D gods. Like the community loves this guy. So apparently he ships. I actually didn't take a look at it. This this ecosystem that into depth, but I plan to go into to do a deep dive on it. It's interesting. It looks pretty awesome. The art looks amazing, and but yeah, I mean Yuga Labs is doing their thing as well continuously, right? Their branding is very sick. They actually have this new mech kind of thing. It's like this. You had sewer passes, and you can basically burn your sewer passes to get these heavy metals. Right? It's basically HV-MTL, so it's heavy metal. Um, the floor price at currently is it's at 1.95 ETH. But the idea here is that if you click on these NFT collections, you could. It's just a box, right? And there's different variations of this box. But the idea behind this is that there's like 8 different types of bots that these boxes will kind of form into and evolve to. But there's like 8 different types of sources, and this is really well thought out by the team. It's great, but they actually have these boxes that actually have, you know, they have, there's a infographic that shows. You can easily search this on Twitter. It shows basically all of these different types of variations of these boxes and the rarity. And the idea is that every single one of these rarities will have to be power sourced by some type of energy that's on Yuga Labs, like other side deeds. So I'm thinking that there's going to be a heavy tie to these storylines. And probably, you know, people are probably talking about this already, but I believe that, you know, if you're really thinking about the metaverse and you're really thinking about a team that's going to ship and make this happen, make this metaverse happen, it's going to be Yuga Labs. They have the dev team, they have the, you know, the proper branding for it. And I'm considering if you know, this might be the time for you to maybe shape your guild at this point. Maybe get some money together with people, and whoever wants in, buy a land deed that's like resource rich. Maybe buy one of these heavy metals, right, at 2 ETH or what have you, and you know, you basically kind of formulate a plan because there's money to be made. Whereas if it's an appreciation of that land deed, or it's the appreciation of these heavy metal NFTs and or other NFT collections that are going to be roaming around this other side, it looks amazing, right? The second voyage, like all these video clips that people have been recording and kind of playing throughout Twitter, it looks incredible. So I'm excited about it. I believe that the other side is going to ship this, and it's going to go live by the end of this year. And I'm probably going to say that with a grain of salt because probably it's going to be go live Q1 of next year, which is 2024. It's interesting stuff, and I can't wait. And if it's the team out there that you want to place your bets on, it's definitely Yuga Labs.
Yeah, I agree. They also got all the cash, and it's almost like
It's,
CryptoPunks. That's why I like your V1 punks. It's pretty good play in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. I'm not the when it comes to NFTs, you want to fade what I do.
I've been getting hurt too, man. I've been getting hurt, and I think V1s and Yuga Labs is probably where I'm going to stay because
I'm glad I
it's
didn't
probably the
buy feet
safest.
picks though.
Yeah, feet picks. But what about those Nakamigos? Take a look at that.
Nakamigos. I didn't buy those. Those look cool though. They look
They looked
fun.
awesome. They looked really cool. But yeah, that basically concludes our episode. Thanks for popping back in, guys, and you know, we'll continue to record for you guys, and you know, please drop us a like, follow, subscribe, everything under the sky. So, Drake, do your thing.
What's the one-liner? Private sector 11 versus 15. Whoever puts up, or wait, no, let's do 14 because this like pertains big time. For lack of guidance, a nation falls, but victory is won through many advisors. Yeah, we need some guidance, man. We definitely need some guidance.
We're not the guys. We need guidance. We're
Yeah,
DJs.
we need it big time. Well, I need it big time. I don't know about you.
I definitely need it. All right.
Look at
Thanks a lot,
Doge.
guys.
That's
See ya.
gonna age very bad, like milk or like fine wine. All right, guys. See ya.
All right. Bye.